Have you ever felt a soul-deep connection with someone so intense, so magnetic, that it shook your understanding of love, time, and even reality itself, yet left you confused, heartbroken, or questioning if it was ever real? You're not alone. Many spiritual seekers experience this overwhelming bond and assume they've found their twin flame, only to be left in silence, wondering why the connection that awakened their soul isn't leading to union. In today's video, we're diving into the sacred mystery of twin flame recognition versus illusion. You'll discover why not everyone who activates your soul is your true twin flame, and the divine purpose behind these intense spiritual encounters. We'll reveal the specific tests the universe orchestrates to awaken your inner knowing, force your soul to evolve, and help you distinguish between a karmic catalyst and your authentic divine counterpart. By the end of this journey, you'll no longer feel lost in the whirlwind of romantic spiritual confusion. Instead, you'll walk away with clarity, empowered by truth, and aligned with your highest path. You'll understand why the universe sometimes sends a false flame to prepare you for the real one, and most importantly, you'll see that what feels like heartbreak might just be your soul's greatest initiation. Are you ready to unlock the truth behind your most sacred connection? Then stay with us, because what you're about to discover could change everything. Number 1. The awakening that shatters the self. Have you ever met someone whose presence shakes you to your core? Someone whose energy doesn't just light a spark in your heart, but sends shockwaves through your soul. A connection so deep, so intense, that it stirs something ancient within you. Suddenly, your inner world begins to shift. Old beliefs crumble, buried emotions surface, and parts of yourself you thought were dormant begin to awaken. In that moment, it's easy, almost inevitable, to believe you've found your twin flame. But here lies a sacred truth that few dare to speak. Not every soul who ignites this fire within you is your divine counterpart. The Swiss psychoanalyst Carl Jung spoke of soul encounters not as random meetings, but as mirrors meant to reflect aspects of our inner world. Some connections are meant to awaken what we've repressed, others arrive to guide us into healing. Still others appear to break us wide open, so we may be remade from the inside out. These relationships, though powerful and magnetic, are not always meant to last, and that, precisely, is their divine purpose. The universe doesn't place your true twin flame in your path without first preparing you for it. Why? Because true union is not built on longing. It is built on wholeness. Before that kind of union can occur, your soul must be tested, your ego stripped, your wounds made visible and healed. And often, the way the universe accomplishes this is by sending someone who feels like your twin flame but isn't. This person acts as a mirror, a teacher, a catalyst. Their presence awakens you to parts of yourself you never knew existed. Their absence forces you to reclaim the parts of you that were lost in the illusion. This divine deception, this beautiful, brutal preparation, is not meant to punish you. It is meant to elevate you. You see, the universe is not in a rush to give you what your heart wants. It is committed to giving you what your soul needs. And so, before you are shown your true twin flame, you will be led through the fire. You will be asked to walk through the illusion of love to find the truth of it. You will be asked to discern intensity from integrity, attraction from alignment, obsession from soul recognition. And when you rise wiser, clearer, more aligned, the universe will know you are ready. So if you are facing a connection that has broken you open, that has shaken your foundations, know this: it is not a mistake. It is a divine initiation. And though the person may not be the one you walk with forever, their role in your journey is sacred. They came not to stay, but to awaken. And because of them, you are closer to your true union than you've ever been. Before we move forward, I invite you to pause and reflect. Has someone ever entered your life so suddenly, so profoundly, that their presence awakened something deep within you, even if they didn't stay? These encounters are not accidents. They are soul-designed. Take a moment to look inward. What did that connection teach you? What part of yourself did it awaken or challenge? If this resonates, I encourage you to share your experience in the comments, or simply type, "The awakening changed me," even if they didn't stay. Let this be your affirmation of growth. And now, Let's explore what happens when the universe begins testing your authenticity through love itself. Number 2. The brutal, beautiful test of authenticity. Have you ever wondered why? Just when something feels divinely aligned, when your soul lights up with recognition, an obstacle appears almost immediately afterward. That's not a random twist of fate. It's not bad luck. It's the universe initiating a sacred test of your authenticity. The moment you meet someone whose energy stirs something ancient within you, the universe sets something in motion. What follows isn't a fairy tale honeymoon. Instead, it's a carefully designed series of trials, not to punish you, but to refine you. These trials are not arbitrary. They are deliberate, soul-specific, and profoundly intelligent. They strike not at the surface of your life, but at the very core of your deepest emotional wounds. Maybe you'll find yourself separated by distance, living worlds apart. Maybe there's a painful age gap or a clash in values. Perhaps your family doesn't approve, or life seems to have cruelly mistimed your meeting. And you wonder, if this is true love, shouldn't it be easier? But what most don't realize is that these aren't mere logistical roadblocks. They are divine instructions coded in chaos, designed to expose your ego and awaken your soul. Every barrier is an invitation to rise. If you fear abandonment, life will ask you to love without needing certainty. You will be challenged to remain open, even when nothing is promised. If you have always longed for closeness and security, you may be called to embrace distance, to honor the sacredness of space. If control has been your coping mechanism, you will be asked to surrender and trust the unknown. These lessons are not gentle, they are raw, and sometimes even excruciating, but they are sacred. These trials act like spiritual fire, burning away your illusions, your expectations, your emotional conditioning. And in the middle of that fire, your soul begins to remember who it truly is. Not the version shaped by fear or validation, but the one forged in truth, love, and presence. Carl Jung, the great mystic psychiatrist, understood this well. He wrote that transformation requires confrontation not with others, but with yourself. And that is exactly what the twin flame path, or any deeply spiritual connection, demands. A confrontation with your shadows, your patterns, your hidden stories. Most people run at this stage. They believe that love should feel safe and effortless, but the truth is, soul-level love will always challenge what is false within you before it reveals what is eternally true. So if you're in the middle of this phase where love feels confusing, timing seems cruel, and every step forward comes with a setback, take heart. You are not being punished. You are being purified. This is the brutal, beautiful test of authenticity, and only those willing to face themselves will pass through it into a higher, more radiant love than they ever imagined. Number 3. The trial of emotional independence. Once you've survived the universe's first trial, the shock of soul recognition, followed by the ache of separation, you step into an even more nuanced test. It is quieter, more internal, and infinitely more difficult. This is the trial of emotional independence, and unlike the first, this one doesn't test whether your connection is real. It tests whether your love is pure. The question the universe poses here is deceptively simple. Do you love this person because your soul chooses them, or because your wounds need them? At this stage, the illusions of fantasy dissolve, and what's left is the naked truth of your emotional patterns. You may experience moments of profound separation, not just physically but energetically. Work obligations, unexpected crises, personal growth journeys, or deep family responsibilities pull the two of you apart. And in this distance, the mirror of your own dependence is held up to your face. Suddenly, you find yourself confronted with your own emotional responses. Do you spiral into anxiety? Do you attempt to pull them closer, to restore certainty, to grasp for connection? Or can you remain grounded in your own being, connected to yourself, while still honoring the sacred bond between your souls? This is where the real alchemy happens. Because the universe isn't just interested in romantic love, it's interested in evolutionary love. A love that expands you, not encloses you. A love that asks, can you hold the flame without needing to possess it? Carl Jung referred to this stage as healthy differentiation, two individuals who remain spiritually bonded but emotionally sovereign. This is not cold detachment, it is mature connection. You still feel their energy. You still love them deeply. But you are no longer trying to extract your sense of wholeness from their presence. You are no longer outsourcing your emotional regulation to another soul. Those who cannot endure ambiguity, who demand immediate resolution, or who cling to their counterpart for security, often fall away here. The pain becomes unbearable. They label the connection a mistake or a fantasy and try to move on, not realizing they were being invited into the next stage of their own soul's expansion. But those who surrender, those who stop resisting the flow and start trusting the rhythm of divine timing, they begin to embody a different kind of love, a love that is not born of need, but of truth, a love that is not afraid of distance, because it knows that nothing real can be threatened. These souls do not just move forward in the connection, they evolve. So if you find yourself in a place of pause, of distance, of uncertainty, understand this. The universe is watching to see how you hold yourself in the absence of external reassurance. This is not abandonment. It is sacred preparation, because only those who can love freely without clutching, without fear, are ready to enter the higher phases of divine union. This is not the end of your story. It is the refining fire that burns away false love and leaves only what is real. Imagine two souls, Emma and Leo, who meet during a spiritual retreat in Bali. From the moment they speak, there's a recognition that runs deeper than anything either of them has ever known. They spend 10 days in deep conversation, meditation, and mutual reflection. By the end of the retreat, they both feel a soul-level connection. But just as suddenly as they met, life pulls them apart. Leo must return to Europe to care for an ailing parent, while Emma has commitments in the US to finish her healing work. At first, the distance is crushing. Emma finds herself checking her phone constantly, replaying old voice notes, wondering if the silence means he's changed. But slowly, instead of grasping, she begins to go inward. She journals, meditates, and reflects on the connection. She realizes that what hurts most isn't the distance, but the fear of not being chosen, the old abandonment wound from childhood. Leo, on the other hand, is facing his own trial, juggling grief, family pressure, and a profound fear of not being enough for someone like Emma. But he, too, sits with the silence. He resists the urge to make promises he can't keep. He chooses presence over performance, neither clings, neither demands. Months pass, and while their physical contact remains limited, something extraordinary happens. The connection doesn't fade, it deepens. They write letters, not to fill the space, but to share their separate growth. They both realize that their love is not built on dependency, but on deep spiritual resonance. They have passed the test not by forcing closeness, but by respecting space. In this, they embody emotional independence. They don't need each other to feel whole, but they choose each other from a place of wholeness. And that's the difference between a karmic attachment and a divine partnership. Number 4, the test of silent faith, when the soul is stripped of proof. There comes a moment on every spiritual path when the silence becomes deafening, when the universe, once generous with signs, synchronicities, and glimpses of connection, suddenly withdraws all evidence of progress. You look around and see nothing, no contact, no messages, no confirmation that what you felt was ever real. It's as if the very ground beneath your feet dissolves, leaving you suspended in a space that feels barren, quiet, and unbearably still. This, paradoxically, is not the universe abandoning you, but refining you. It is in this silent crucible that your soul is tested not through action, but through surrender. Perhaps your twin flame, the one who once mirrored your soul so clearly, now seems to connect with someone else. Perhaps they've walked away completely, or worse, appear to have moved on effortlessly while you're still standing in the ashes of what once felt like destiny. The absence becomes sharp, like a blade cutting through every illusion you had about control, timing, or outcome. In this void, there is no applause for your loyalty, no audience for your devotion, no external validation to prop up your belief. All that remains is the quiet whisper of your soul and the question, can you still believe when everything tangible tells you not to? Carl Jung once said, faith is only real when it becomes the only thing you have. That is what this phase demands of you: real faith. Not hope based on signs, not belief built on reciprocation, but faith born from stillness, forged in solitude, and untethered to outcomes. Many seekers retreat here. They begin to question everything. Was it all just fantasy? Was the connection ever real? And in fear, they label the entire journey a delusion. They disconnect, not just from their twin, but from their own inner knowing. But a rare few do something different. They stay, not clinging, not chasing, but staying present. These are the souls who learn to love without possession, to trust without needing control, and to hold space for a future they cannot yet see. They begin to embody what Jung called the transcendent function, that mysterious inner capacity to hold tension between opposites without needing resolution. These souls live in the paradox of longing and surrender, connection and distance, hope and detachment, and in doing so, they evolve. They become not just seekers of union, but vessels of divine energy themselves. They no longer rely on outward movement because their inward expansion is now the miracle. And when that level of silent faith reaches maturity, when it no longer seeks reassurance or demands outcomes, the universe begins to move again. Not because you forced it to, but because you aligned with it. Faith, in its purest form, is not waiting for the universe to show you something. It's becoming the very thing you were waiting for. This is the real test. And if you are in it now, know this: you are not lost. You are becoming, and your silent faith is not empty. It is the seed of something holy, growing beneath the soil of your doubt, waiting to rise. If you've made it this far, take a deep breath, because that alone means something powerful. You are not just listening, you are awakening. The test of silent faith is not for the faint of heart. It's for the soul that refuses to give up, even when there's no signpost in sight. So I invite you to pause for a moment and reflect. Have you been walking through this silence too? Have you loved without answers, waited without timelines, and trusted without evidence? If so, you're not alone. Share your story in the comments. Your experience may be the light someone else needs right now. Or, if the words aren't there yet, simply type, "I trust in the unseen." Let it be your soul's quiet affirmation that even in the silence, something sacred is unfolding. Number 5. Recognition beyond outcome, the final alchemy of love. What if the deepest form of love wasn't about holding someone's hand, but about holding their soul in your heart without ever needing to possess them? This is the most mysterious and sacred test of the twin flame journey, the ability to love without attachment, to surrender the outcome without losing the reverence for the connection. By now, you've walked through fire. You've faced longing, silence, ego death, and soul-level transformation. But this last stage isn't about what you gain from the journey. It's about what you finally release. This is the test of love without need. Carl Jung, who deeply understood the symbolic nature of human relationships, once wrote that some twin flames, despite the cosmic resonance between them, may never reunite in physical form, and yet their bond remains intact, holy, and eternal. Why? Because the true purpose was never just romantic union. It was awakening. It was becoming. It was about being cracked open by the presence of another soul so deeply that you remembered who you were before the world taught you to forget. In this phase, a powerful realization takes root. The mission was never to end up together in the way your human self hoped. The mission was inner transformation. You became more of your true self, not in spite of the other person, but because of them. Your twin was the mirror, the catalyst, the divine messenger who arrived not to stay, but to spark your return to wholeness. This is the path of individuation through sacred encounter. You discover that you never needed her to complete you. You were never missing half of yourself. What you truly needed was the ignition of your soul's dormant fire, the awakening of the divine spark within. She wasn't the destination. She was the initiator of your expansion. And here's the paradox. When you no longer grasp for the outcome, when you no longer chase, when you finally bless the connection regardless of how it unfolds, this is when the soul's highest frequency emerges. This is unconditional love in its purest form. At this point, the universe may orchestrate your reunion, or it may not. You may find yourselves drawn back together in divine timing or walking parallel paths forever, but something profound shifts. It no longer matters, because you've already received the ultimate gift. You have loved without expectation. You have surrendered without losing reverence. You have been transformed by a connection that asked for your faith, your surrender, your evolution. And that is enough. That is the sacred proof that you have passed the final test. Number 6, synchronicity and the fifth element, when the universe moves with you. After all the fires have burned through the illusions, after the tests of longing, surrender, and silent faith have shaped your soul, after you've proven that your love is not conditional on proximity, contact, or control, something mystical begins to stir. This is when a fifth element appears, an element beyond willpower, beyond effort, beyond logic. It is synchronicity. You begin to notice subtle alignments, an uncanny string of events, messages, dreams, and meetings that defy mere coincidence. Perhaps a job offer shifts one of you closer in proximity. Perhaps a missed connection is suddenly restored through unexpected contact. Doors that were once sealed shut begin to creak open, almost effortlessly. Obstacles that once felt insurmountable dissolve without warning. The timing becomes too precise, too meaningful to ignore. This is not a fantasy. This is the sacred orchestration of divine intelligence. Carl Jung described this as self-interference, a phenomenon in which the psyche's deepest truth begins to shape external reality. In other words, when two souls have finally come into alignment with their own inner truth, when they have mastered the art of loving without grasping, of honoring without expectation, the outer world begins to reflect that internal maturity. Reality bends to match the frequency of wholeness. But let's be clear, this shift doesn't happen because you're visualizing union or affirming love 100 times a day. It happens because you have truly let go of attachment to outcome. You have passed through the flame of ego death and emerged with a heart that no longer clings. Only then does the universe, silent witness to your transformation, step forward and echo back your inner alignment. This fifth element is not a guarantee of union. It is an invitation, a signal that the energetic groundwork is complete. It is a whisper from the divine. Now that you are whole, let us see what is possible. If you're experiencing synchronicities like these frequent dreams, number patterns, unexpected meetings, messages from strangers that echo your soul's truth, pause and ask yourself a deeper question. Not is union coming, not is this the sign, but rather, who am I becoming through this? Are you more compassionate, more present, more in tune with your higher self? Have you become someone who loves without demand, who surrenders with trust, who sees the sacred in what is not just in what could be? Because that is the real miracle. And once you embody this, you become the fifth element yourself. You become the bridge between the seen and the unseen, between the love you carry and the world you shape. The universe cannot help but meet you there. In the end, the highest purpose of the twin flame journey is not measured by whether two people reunite in the physical realm. The true measure lies in who you become through the sacred fire of that connection. Carl Jung once observed that our greatest transformations often arrive disguised as heartbreak, spiritual longing, or seemingly unanswered love. This journey strips away illusion, ego, and attachment not to punish you, but to refine you. If you have touched even a glimpse of unconditional love, then you have not lost, you have ascended. Because to love without clinging, to trust without certainty, to honor the divinity in another soul without needing to possess it, that is the beginning of true spiritual mastery. That is the path of enlightenment few dare to walk, but those who do are never the same again. And if you've made it this far reading these words, feeling them stir something ancient within you, then you already know. Your soul did not come here to settle for crumbs of comfort. You were called to walk a path of courage, consciousness, and awakening. You were brought here not for romance alone, but for remembrance, for the sacred remembering of who you truly are. Let this be your moment of declaration. If this message resonates with your soul, write in the comments, "I trust the universe's process." Let those words mark your soul's readiness to rise. Speak them not just to the screen, but to yourself, to your higher self, to the universe that has always been guiding your steps. Like this video if you feel seen. Share it with someone who needs this clarity. And don't forget to watch the video below, because your journey doesn't end here. In fact, it's just beginning. You are not breaking. You are becoming.